I met this guy. When he was a child, he was dreaming about this teacher. The teacher, she was wearing boots. And we were having this talk as well. And he said, oh, you know, my kinks are like if you wear boots and I like to suck the boots.
Oh! Ew! What the
I hooked up with this guy and oh my God, did he eat like a champ. I was like, what are you doing? I came over and over and over and over and over and I still wanted more.
Always talking about anal sex.
Yeah.
But some people might not like it or might not be prepared.
I might say to them, okay, well, if you want to get fisted up the ass, then have you douched? If you don't know how to do something,
You can hire a professional.
you can hire a professional.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Sex, Love and Energy. This is MJ and today I'm super excited with Mistress Anastacia.
Hi.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Oh my gosh.
Coming back, right?
Yeah, coming back. Oh my god. She was one of my first guests when I started doing this podcast, just audio. And now we're here, right?
I know. I was just saying it's such a beautiful setup and we've come so far, haven't we?
Yeah, very far. So true. Oh, yes, so excited. Well, today I brought you because I've been having a lot of talks with people who would like to get into more like BDSM. And obviously I wanted to get this first, the most important from where it comes, the roots just for you. So what about if we start? I have some questions.
Come at me.
Come on, here we go. The first question is, what are the most common misconceptions about BDSMs or kink you have encountered?
I think just generally society often thinks that BDSM and kink stuff is very taboo and people are doing it against their will, and like things like impact play, for example, people think, oh, well, you're getting hit, how can you even like that? But really, what was that song? There's a fine line between pleasure and pain.
So true.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Definitely it is a thing.
And I think education's the key. Like the more we talk about BDSM and kink, I always like to separate the two.
Okay, so that's a good thing. Yeah, okay. Because maybe people put in the same basket BDSM and kinks.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So I think.
So what about if you talk a little bit more in that? Yes.
So I think generally kink is a broader way to describe what we would be doing, because BDSM traditionally stands for bondage, domination, sadomasochism. There's also a lot of variations to that. However, kink can be anything from foot fetishes to all different types of fetishes. So if you say kink, it's like covers most things.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to necessarily be
because people
bondage.
Yeah, true. Because some people can have kinks with activewear, shoes, food. Is that correct? Toys.
Hey.
Vegetables and cucumber.
Look, different strokes for different folks, as long as it's safe, it's consensual, it's sane, not illegal, like you're good, you know?
So true. That's so true. Yeah, people always get a little bit ick, like, when you say, oh yeah, like some kinky stuff. They think like, when they say kinky, they think straight away you're going to be tied up and they're going to start whip you up on the way. But
unless you want to.
Exactly, but you mentioned something about consent and agreement. Yes. That's so important, because people is like, can you go on a first date and talk with someone to say, oh, you know, I'm more like kinky. And then the other person say, okay, and then you go there and the first things he does is slap your face. Without, you know what I mean?
Just natural reflex to hit it back. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Talk about it. It's how important is the communication.
Yeah. I think Obviously, it takes experience to potentially go through some bad things to be like, okay, well, that's not good for me. That doesn't align with what I'm into, what turns me on. Or it could be triggering. That's a really big thing for some people. If there's past trauma, certain things are too much. And having that communication, that conversation, as it doesn't have to be weird. Like, as long as you're having a conversation with someone and you're saying, hey, look, just letting you know, it really turns me on if you do that little nibble behind my ear, or if you try X, Y, and Z. But
I'm feeling it.
if you slap me in the face, that's an instant red flag, and I don't want to play anymore. So, yeah.
And I think it also, when we talk about kinks, or more like BDSM, there is also like some boundaries.
Yeah.
Because you don't play in the same way with everyone who likes to play.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's healthy, really healthy, not just in kink stuff, but just in life, to have boundaries. Because if people come to me and they say, I have no boundaries, I have no limits, I'm like, red flag.
Yeah.
I'm like, like, that's when you can injure someone, or maybe they aren't sane. Like, for me, that's a really, really big thing where I question that, because
you never know, because maybe you like to go farther than what they like.
Exactly. And so it's always good to negotiate what is and isn't okay at the start, because often when you're playing and you might get halfway through and something will change, and if that wasn't negotiated at the start, you really shouldn't be proceeding with that.
Yeah, no, you should.
Partners and people you know, maybe it could be different, but generally speaking, like if you're at a play party or a kink party, something like that, what's agreed to at the start is what happens, and nothing further. If you want to do that further, then next time you just have to have a second date.
Yeah.
A second fuck fest. I don't know.
Exactly.
And who wouldn't say no to that?
Yeah,
right?
So true. We have certain levels, I guess, with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move to the next question. What advice do you have for someone who wants to introduce BDSM or kink into the relationships? We're talking about now more like couples. Couples that feel a little bit like curious. It's like, I would like to incorporate some things, but I don't know where should I start.
You know what? That's like a really common thing that comes up. Me as a provider in the industry, but then also working in certain establishments like sex toy stores and stuff, where people come in and they're like, I really like X, Y, and Z, but my partner isn't into it. And so,
oh wow, okay.
Like, as much as everyone says it, but communication. Sometimes you have to just get some courage and say, hey, look, I want to have a conversation with you about what I'm feeling sexually and some things I'd like to try, and I hope you're open-minded to hear me out. Because if you don't say it, they're not going to know. You shouldn't spring it on them mid-session either, whilst you're fucking being like, stick that big fist up my ass or something. Maybe they'd like them. I don't know. Everyone's different. But
everyone is so different.
You got to have hard conversations sometimes.
Yeah. We have a new guest. She's incorporating to the
There's a lot of pussy. There's a lot of pussy.
There's a lot of pussy.
Hi. Hello, baby.
In 1 minute for the co-host, she came to the show this time. She's like, look at the pussy.
It's like, what was that?
Okay, that was a little break.
Yeah.
So that's so true, like some people need to have that hard conversation.
Yeah. But I think that's especially relationships in general. If you're just flying through a relationship and you're never having hard conversations, are you really being your authentic self? And are you really learning about your partner? I think you've got to have tough conversations, and sometimes you might cry, sometimes you might yell, sometimes you may not agree, but that's the first step. And you could use counselors or therapists to help you guide
That in the journey. But I think it also is like sometimes you never know when during playtime you might activate a trigger.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that like maybe you will be there having a nice intimacy moment and then you start like you push a little too far and then you start crying or you feel like a little shocking. You never know. What do you think if people want to start playing a little harder? Incorporate someone like a dominatrix to guide you through into the relationship, into this situation.
Well, I do see couples and generally, I obviously see all different walks of life, couples, you know.
What are your favorites?
Singles. I always love couple sessions.
We want to know.
I always love couple sessions because like I've had a mix of different things where there's play included and then there's other things where it's more me guiding through the session. Like I've had this beautiful couple where their sex drive was aligned, which sometimes in relationships it may not be in line, and that's okay, it's normal. But theirs was the other way around. So he wanted her to be more dominant because he was always dominant and she had no idea how to be dominant. She's always submissive. And so it was a really funny session because it was an absolute, I had to really mind fuck her to get her to the place of being, okay, come on. Yeah. This is not the time to laugh.
No, this is the time to be dirty and naughty and yeah.
But that was a really cool thing for a relationship, just like
switch their role.
Yeah, switching the role, but like in line with what we were just talking about before is, you know, they're taking a step to try and improve their relationship and, you know, make it more fun and try something new and switch the roles around. So that was really cool. It was really fun. Taught them a few different things. I often might give couples as well, like little presents to take home. So just fun things that you can incorporate.
You can incorporate into this
the daily
life.
How
to improve your sex life.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. I think people feel a little bit, more than it's a fear, is this taboo.
Yeah.
The taboo of like, oh, I love my wife or I love my partner, but I don't know how to be that naughty. You know what I mean? How to bring that dirtiness or that excitement into sex because I respect so much. But I think it is different levels though.
Yeah. I also think like if sometimes that people are in that headspace where they do see their partner as this angelic person and maybe they've been together for ever, maybe role play is what should come in. Where
that is a very good one. Yeah.
I'm always advocating a dirty hotel room. Book a hotel room. If you have kids, get a babysitter, have a night where, you know, what they do in the movies, like go to a bar and pretend like you've never met before.
Yeah, get some nice lingerie.
Dress up, you know, a suit. Ladies always love a suit.
Yeah, it's like sexy and gentleman and mysterious.
Yeah, and just sort of like push the boundaries a little bit because I think so often when you're living with your partner, you also get into like a bit of a rut as well that, you know, like men might see the woman as the mother and she's doing all this stuff for the kids and he's going to work. And so sometimes just stepping out of that will then reignite the spark.
Yeah, it's like stepping out of your own reality to bring something new into this reality.
For a little bit of a romp.
Yeah, definitely. It's like having a break.
Yeah,
having a break. And it's not, some people think like when you like kinks or when you like BDSM, it's like every day you're going to be going hard. What do you think?
Well, I guess maybe
that was a terrible expression what I just said. But yeah, what do you think?
Where's my halo? It's gone. Oh shit.
Me. Coming up with this space and it's like, well,
everyone's different though. I think my life.
It's at different levels as well, right?
Yeah.
But hold on, let me finish my point. Because of you know, this is because of my personality, you know.
Yeah.
But what do you think about, like, sometimes you crave like intimacy,
Yeah.
the cuddling and the more romantic way, but also you like the harder. But maybe some people like, majority of the time they like the cuddle and romantic, but once in a while they like to get messy.
Look, we're all human and we all have different needs and different times in life. Like, God, if I was still the same as I was when I was 22, God help me. Whereas, you know, as we get older, our interests change, what we're into is very different. I was very submissive actually when I was in my early 20s. I'd say I'm definitely more dominant. Only a few people that I might, you know, let pin me down.
Yeah, that's my question. It's like, if you like to be dominant 90% of your time, but there is some people can match your energy and then you can submit to them. And how is that feel?
Look, you know, it really takes the right person with the right energy, of course. But I get a little bit flustered.
No, I love that. I love it. This is like natural, you know. We're here having a talk, and I want the people also understand it's nothing wrong. We have different tastes.
Yeah, I think fluidity is the best way that I describe my sexuality. I'm pansexual. I'm not attracted to a gender per se. I also like to go between dominant and submissive. Obviously more dominant than submissive, but occasionally, if it's the right person, you feel safe and comfortable, and why not? Like,
why not?
Everybody has needs, and sometimes a mistress also needs to get fucked. Which is like the biggest...
clear. It's like, don't have that shame or that taboo because of like, oh no, everything has to be in this direction. And actually, there is, for sex specifically, there is no rules. You have to discover you. The best way makes you feel happy in that moment. And maybe in 6 months, you're going to change and you're going to evolve into something different. Yeah.
I think also one thing with like if you are getting into the kink community, that there's a lot of labels. I think there's a lot of labels in general with life, right? But especially within the community, sometimes you might identify as X, Y, and Z, and it is okay to do that. But it's also okay for 12 months' time that you want to change that. Don't ever feel that just because you put a label on something doesn't allow you to evolve and change.
Exactly.
And so, you know, it's stereotypical, as they say, we are on a journey, and exploring our sexuality isn't black and white. It's colorful, it's exciting, it's, you know, emotional, it's sexy.
It's hot and passionate. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So,
should we move to the next? Oh my God, I love this. I love this, guys. I'm so excited. How can individuals ensure that their BDSM or kink practices are safe and respectful?
The kink practices are safe and respectful. Well, that would be all within the negotiation. Do you think that person is potentially... Okay, let's say you are a top.
Okay, let's define top, because maybe some people don't know. So let's define top. What is a top?
Top is sort of similar to being dominant. A top is someone that's just always on top and in control, not necessarily super dominant and like in that dom sub sort of scenario. And then a bottom, like it's often used in the gay community. So a top is someone that fucks someone else, and then a bottom is the one that gets fucked. That's probably the easiest way to describe it.
That's the way to explain it.
Beating around the bush. Whereas like a dom sub thing is, they may not even be sex, but it's more like this mental, psychological thing.
Yes.
More so, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes in a dom and slave or submissive there is no sex involved.
Not always.
Not always. Sometimes it's like just certain activities.
Yeah. And so as that question just asked about
The safety and
how safe you can be, I think knowing prior what it is you're looking for, what your boundaries are. So say, for example, if I'm having a session, I already want to know what particular kinks or services that particular person is after. And then I will, I put together a scene in my head, which may not always go to plan, but once they arrive, I like, and this could be just like a first date.
Yeah.
Maybe go for a drink first somewhere or a coffee first just to verify they're real. But
for example, right now it's like they always talk about anal sex or anal play.
Yeah.
But some people might not like it or might not be prepared.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you have to talk about it before a session if you're going to incorporate anal play or not.
Absolutely. And even then from the other side, so if that person is like, okay, these are my limits, these are my boundaries, this is what I safely feel like I want to offer and what I want to receive, and then they can come to me and say that. And then I might say to them, okay, well, if you want to get fisted up the arse, then have you douched? Because that's a limit for me. If you haven't douched and done the right preparation, which maybe they didn't do it, and that's okay, but then maybe we wouldn't proceed as normal, or maybe, you know, would take a little bit longer and that would be incorporated into the session. So knowing your own limits, I think, and boundaries, that's how you can be as safe as possible. Also, if you don't know how to do something, then you can hire a professional. You can hire a professional.
You can guide you through into this journey.
There's also lots of podcasts. There's lots of blogs. There's
Google. There is a lot of content out there right now.
No, don't necessarily take that verbatim. Those are professionals generally that perform those stunts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of information out there. If there's a particular thing you're really into, then research, you know, look into it as much as possible to try and learn as much as possible before trying anything. And there's also spaces, depending where you are in the world, but let's say Australia, for example, we're in Sydney right now, and and there's really good community here in the swingers scene and also the kink scene, where there's classes that happen, there's safe spaces that you can go to learn new stuff. And I know that happens in other major cities in Australia, so that's pretty cool. And I'm sure that happens all around the world as well. So yeah, I think education is the biggest thing. Research if there's something you want to try.
Get some knowledge, update yourself.
Yeah.
And then I think you also have hard conversations with people you're going to. Like literally, if you don't know your limit or if you don't know what to try or what to do, ask. Maybe get someone who has more experience.
Yeah.
And then try to guide you in
It's funny, when I was younger and I was more submissive, I wasn't comfortable with people touching my feet, which is very different to now, as feet is something I love and is a service I provide as well.
Like a foot fetish?
Many different ways. But yeah, it was just one thing that I would say at the start, like when I was younger, I'm like, don't touch my feet. I'll freak out. And it's so funny. This is the thing about evolution, is that now I could have someone sucking on my toes and licking my feet for hours, and I'm like, yeah, that's nice. Whereas 10 years ago, we're like, fuck off.
Stay away from me.
Don't touch them. Leave them alone. Yeah, so it's quite a contrast and interesting about our journey in the evolution.
It's very, very interesting. You know, that reminds me, one time I met this guy and we were having this talk as well. And he said, oh, you know, my kinks are like if you wear boots and I like to suck the boots. And he was like, oh yeah. But then he was telling me he got this trauma
Trauma.
When he was a child, he was dreaming about this teacher, and the teacher, she was wearing boots. So I think he kind of like reflected into this, and he was like, okay, what does that mean? And he said, I think I kind of like took this trauma of this teacher, which I loved, but I couldn't have it, into this turns on. Like, I love boots, and I want, you know what I mean?
And you know, if I could break that down, that's actually a really good way to identify like how and why you have certain kinks and fetishes, because you know, there's a lot of things, like for me with the feet thing, right? When I was younger, I'm like, wait, should I tell this story?
Sorry, I'm excited. I want to know more.
I think my dad used to say this because I think he was just trying to stir up my mum, and he'd be like, yeah, your mum put your shoes on the wrong feet. That's why they look like that. They look perfectly normal, just like normal feet. But then I thought, do I have something wrong with my feet? For years. But my dad wasn't doing it to like upset me. It was like to just make fun of my mum and, you know, them have banter. And mum would always be like, oh, don't be silly. And then I'm just sitting there like, are my feet fucked? Like, are they weird? Yeah, and so for years I thought that my feet were weird, and then that's why I didn't like people touching them. And then that I finally got over that, and I was like, actually, now you enjoy. I really like the sensuality behind foot stuff, and often with kink stuff, it all derives from somewhere generally. Yeah. And if you can identify that, then that's usually a healthy sign. That you're doing things sort of right. I think as well that I've definitely encountered people that use kink in the wrong way.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at you, you're like, yes, I'm ready for this conversation.
I'm waiting for this. Because even though, like, some people say, in the dating, okay, let's go talking simple. Like, in the dating life, you know, you meet someone, you start talking, and then you kind of like, you have them chemistry. You want to know what they like, you know? Because if you don't like a missionary, it's like you kind of like want to navigate through, like, is this worth it to go further or not? Yeah. And then they say, oh yeah, like kinks are like this, A, B, C, and D. And then you are kind of, you know how they express as they talk in certain conversation? You know what I mean? It's like, how can I say this? Sometimes certain guys, I don't know if because of porn, has this influence, like very more like aggressive way to describe things. Yeah. Or even like during the act. And you are like, hold on a second, it's like I'm not ready to go into that level. Yeah, I know what you mean. What do you think about that? Well, there is a lot of like gray area, right?
I need to be careful what I say. So,
well, it's like
it's really hard if guys go into sex super confident, thinking they know everything, and not listening to the other person. And listening is also verbal, but also physical. If like someone is leaning into you, then that means something. If someone is pulling away, if you're trying to like fucking lick her pussy and then she's starting to pull back, generally that means you should probably chill out and stop.
Maybe slow down.
Slow down, maybe like chill out on the teeth. I don't know what it is, but you're doing it wrong. So like, you know.
We have to tell you.
Someone had to tell you.
Someone has to do it, and it's like so true. And also, if you know your own technique, I want to tell you that your technique, it might not work for every woman.
Yes.
Yes. It's like you have to be open to understand yourself and the other person, and to say like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just navigate for step one. Maybe step one is like, okay, slowly going to step two. Until maybe you're going to navigate to the best technique ever, but just takes practice as well.
Can I tell you a really funny story?
Go.
Okay, so this is many years ago. I excuse me, I was in Queensland and I hooked up with this guy, and oh my fucking God, did he eat pussy like a champ. I just like was mind blown. I came over and over and over and over and over, and I still wanted more. Anyway, so I was like, what are you doing? Like, I love to eat pussy too, but yeah, everyone's different. But I was like, what are you doing? What is it exactly that you're doing? Yeah. And he's like, I'm moving my tongue like that and then pushing my face. Anyway, I'm like, okay, note that down. And then I hooked up with someone else a few weeks later. I was like, he's going down on me like, I'm like, actually, can you try and just go and push your face in? And I was like, stop, don't do that. Don't do that. No. That's not working. Because look at your cat trying to get involved.
But she's like, okay,
hey girl. Meow.
She's like, maybe I'm gonna put mine.
But yeah, so essentially what I learned that day was no same person necessarily can have the same technique or the same influence. Like maybe the connection was slightly different with that other person, where that got me over, or maybe that it was just really off-putting trying to.
Or maybe the other guy also put like too much effort.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, no, I think A for effort is always good. But effort also means communication. Like, hey, do you like it if I go like this? What feels good? Or like, it doesn't have to be verbal, because maybe
you can even touch a little bit, incorporate your hands into this. Yeah, like
also like tapping and stuff, fingers and tapping.
Tapping, yes.
So he could say, a guy could, or a person going down on someone could say, okay, I may not be able to speak, but if it's getting too much, like, like tap your leg or my head or whatever.
Or just...
and you can make up your own rules as to what that sounds like, or the person could just say something like, but yeah, you just got to fuck around and find out.
Yeah, but I will say, I think don't go straight to the clit.
Yeah, you just got to
work around. Tease a little bit.
It's all about balance though, because I've definitely had someone try and go down on me, and they were avoiding my clit for too long, and I was just like, just lick it, please. Like, and then he's like over at my knee, like, I'm like, no, here, motherfucker,
like
here,
there.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
So sex can be really hard. I think that's like sort of, if we could break down what we've just spoken about now, like sex isn't the same for everyone. Certain things don't turn others on.
Incorporate like good communication.
Good communication.
Have the hard communication. Have those hard conversations. That was the one.
Have the tough conversations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have it.
Yeah.
Have it. It's worth it. Literally, you're going to have a better experience. And also, try to break that routine.
Yeah.
If you feel like your house is like a little bit messy and it's not that sexy, okay, book that hotel room.
Go for a drive and have a little cheeky romp on the side of the road, but don't get arrested.
Yeah. Maybe camping,
be discreet,
glamping, whatever you would like.
This is one thing as well, public stuff. People can't consent to you doing things, so you don't want to get caught. Be subtle.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Explore. Maybe go to the sex shop.
Yeah.
Right? Give them some inspiration together.
Absolutely. I love a good sex toy store, and usually the stuff are really helpful and really knowledgeable. And I know when I worked in one, I'd be like, "Oh, we have this new product."
You're like, "Oh,
or like, I'd always ask certain questions, like, for women, for example, is this something for solo play or play with another partner? And then that would like funnel down what it is exactly that I'll be going to. So let's say they're doing solo play. I'll be like, okay, so do you masturbate?
Yeah.
And if they yes or no, say they said yes, and I'd say, do you already have sex toys that you use? They say no. And I'm like, do you like internal stimulation and
external stimulation?
Yeah,
every
and
woman
so
is different. Yes.
I think like if you hit up the right people for information, I think we'll be dropping some links.
Yeah, definitely we're gonna be dropping. I'm gonna be dropping her links as well.
Yeah,
But
and
if you want to go, and then you can always, if you want to go for a BDSM kinks, you can always call Mistress Anastacia. I'm gonna obviously drop her contact, Instagram, down below, so you can check everything.
Yeah.
And even me as well. You can just contact me and contact. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm always here to help. And yeah, before we go, I want to pull a card.
Pull a card.
Yeah, because I do this with every of my guests. And this they call a pillow talk. Cards for intimate conversations.
Oh, I like
okay,
it.
so let's see what the card says about us, about you. No. So you can just pull. It's a question, and then you can
like tarot cards. What's it gonna say?
Okay, let's see. Hopefully it's one more.
Okay. In what way do you feel ashamed or guilty around sex?
Interesting.
This is actually a really interesting card because I had a conversation recently with someone very close to me. They asked me, do I feel ashamed? And I said, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And he's like, I just feel like I'm pretending to be someone else that I'm not, because that's how my family wants to be. And I was like, oh, fuck, I thought you were trying to talk about me for a second. He's like, no, I'm talking about me. And I said, well, let's break that down a little bit. And he's like, yeah, my sexual identity, who I am, what I'm doing for work. Am I even doing a good job? Is this even what I should be doing? And there was a lot of shame. And we tried to like break down where that came from, essentially family, generational trauma, which, you know, it's really hard thing to break out of. And yeah, I think I just told him, you know, I asked him, what do you want the world to see you as when you're gone? How do you want people to remember you?
That's a very good question.
How do you want people to remember you? And I said, look, if I want people to remember me, I want them to be like, yeah, that was the one that like tried to help people with sex and educate them with safe and consensual sex and kink stuff and, you know, something along those lines. I said, what do you want to be known for? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, stop trying to live someone else's life and try and be your authentic self, or at least try and figure out what that is. And he was like, well, I think one time I'd like to try being with a guy. I'm like, fuck yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? There's a swingers party on next Friday night. Which is a bi party. And you know what? Like, you could go, there's anonymity, or, you know, there's platforms where you can reach out to people. And I think forget about what people think of you, and forget about the if your parents wanted you to be a doctor, for example, who gives a shit? You do what makes you happy, figure out what it is.
It's your life.
And then you just won't have shame. I think I live my life authentically, and I work 100% in the adult industry, and I'm very proud of that. And I love sex. I love giving. I love receiving. I think it's really healthy.
The exchange of energy and everything.
And it's just, honestly, it's liberating and it's freeing.
I love that word.
Liberating.
I love that word. It's like, yes, just let it go and flow, and just feel it.
Just be free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild and free.
Just be a hoe. Like, it's cool. It's fine. You do you, boo.
I love that. Well, I have to tell you, thank you so much. It was a splendid time. And I hope you see you in the next episode. And don't forget to subscribe. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you everyone for watching us.
Thank you.
Love you all.
Mwah.
See ya.
Bye.